how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. Everybody from the audience behind me, we're here with Kelly Drennan, who's, I know it's a big audience here for you, Kelly, here to see you today. Kelly Drennan is the founder of Fashion Takes Action and the queen of sustainable fashion in Canada. My neighbors to the north here in Minnesota. What's going on? How are you up there? What's going on?
Oh, well, we're still in pandemic mode here, but things are really good. Things are happening with Fashion Takes Action. We've just launched a youth ambassador program we're super excited about, and yeah, I mean it's good right now.
Pushing
Thanks.
through
How about
it.
you?
Pushing good. You're always inspiring us down here, and I'm super excited to sit and chat with you about Black Friday and what's happening all over the world. And you've got some really interesting perspectives about what's been happening up there in Canada. So give us a little bit of context about what's happening with Black Friday in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are close neighbors with
Sure.
you. We share the largest, I think, border in the world. So it's very similar, I think, in terms of how Black Friday is perceived and in terms of all the different, the sales, the discounts. It did start obviously in the States, and I think a lot of Canadians used to shop south of the border and take advantage of those discounts. But now with online shopping, of course, it's everybody can access them. But what's really interesting is that, a couple of things really is Buy Nothing Day, which originated in Canada.
Yay!
Yeah, I know, but it now is the day after Black Friday, right? So it's a day for us to really sort of pause and reflect. But the difference too, I think, here is that it's not Black Friday for us isn't the day after Thanksgiving, right? So Thanksgiving for us happens in October. But looking as an outsider observing this whole, idea of Thanksgiving in the States, and it's just, to me, so absurd that you have people literally trampling over one another to take advantage of these sales the day after they're already supposed to be thankful for what they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, but
Really good observation.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's
Yeah, when you think about it, we're all theoretically sitting around a table trying to give thanks, for everything that we have, being grateful. And then you're right, not even, now. I mean, they're in the States. I don't know what it's like up where you are. They're queuing up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, even the night before, setting lines up to get into these stores. So what is this? So let's talk about the knock-on effects of Black Friday. I mean, there's some negatives and there's some positives. So before we kind of delve into all the really great things that can come from Black Friday and that we can do with Black Friday, let's talk about some of the things that aren't so great about it. So, we're looking at the promotion of over consumption. So, and overproduction. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, and especially this year, I mean, really, I think Black Friday is going to be even bigger than the years past just because of the pandemic. You've got brands that have been left with piles and piles of unsold inventory. And then you couple that with how livelihoods have been impacted and people's jobs have been lost. And so everybody's on a budget. And I think this combination is actually going to be quite deadly, in terms of impact on both people and planet. Yeah, I mean, it's, of course, this whole idea of overproduction and basically us lining up to take advantage of these sales sends a message to the industry that it's okay to continue doing this and to continually, thoughtlessly overproduce while we'll just keep buying it when it's at 50% off. So, yeah,
there's no across the board answer. And when you think about, there's a massive industry, the fashion industry is the $3 trillion a year industry. How we make those numbers, of course, is questionable, obviously, but we can't negate the fact that selling clothes is a part of sustaining people's lives all over the world. And so it's a really challenging question. So in your opinion, like, what are some ways that brands can work on the business B2B side? What are some ways that brands might be able to innovate through their Black Friday sales approach? Have you had any thoughts about that, maybe?
Oh, that's a great question. I think a lot of the work we're doing around Black Friday is more aimed at consumers, right? And giving them some options and solutions or alternatives. But, I think, we look at the marketing dollars that go into Black Friday, and really, I mean, I don't know the number, but I'm assuming it's massive. I mean, you can't you know, it's just like you can't go on any kind of a device without being hit up by ad after ad after ad. And so, you know, maybe it's an opportunity to rethink your, you know, your marketing strategy and actually look at investing some of those dollars into being more transparent, or, you know, paying living wages. You know, there's lots of ways that those dollars could be put to better use. And I think it's interesting with fashion and Black Friday. You know, fashion is it's quite frivolous. It's not necessarily, yes, we need clothing, but do we need 10 pairs of jeans or 20 pairs of jeans or 5 winter coats or what? Oh, winter coats in Canada, of course, not always everywhere in the world, but, you know, and so so in some ways I understand Black Friday a little bit better when it comes to other products, but I think with fashion, it's just so unnecessary. And it's the one to me that really stands out as being the biggest problem around Black Friday. Like if you know, really need to buy a new dishwasher, or refrigerator, or, you know, take advantage of the sales, absolutely. But, you know, do you really, I think you just need to stop and think about whether or not you really need another top or pair of jeans.
Right. Well, but also too, the, you know, the idea of, do we need another top and pair of jeans from a retailer that may or may not be so conscious of the people on the planet. You know, there's so many different options. Of course, I'm a swapper myself, so for Black Friday,
Me too.
I love swapping in secondhand. But you're right,
Yeah.
the marketing dollars that go into something like this, and it's about the messaging. So for, you know, reprogramming people about how they're thinking about what their purchases are, with their impact. So what are some of the ways that you are going to be, what are some things that you're going to be doing on Black Friday to kind of reframe how, I mean, you've always been super conscious and you've always been a champion for change. So maybe nothing new, but what are some of the steps or things that you're going to be doing that you can enlighten us with?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, this, and for a number of years now, we really, when it comes to gifting, because I guess this is a lot, Black Friday is really about, you know, sort of buying these gifts for the holiday season that's coming up. I think it's important to really think about giving the gift of experience, you know, and that's something that we've done. And it might be a more challenging year for that because of the fact that many of us are sort of, you know, locked inside of our homes. But I think that, you know, experiences have a lot more meaning. And they're longer lasting, they create memories. So I think, you know, personally, boycotting Black Friday is something that I will continue to do. But I do think that if it's, you know, okay, many advantages. No, there is an advantage, I think, in some ways, in that, you know, sustainable fashion, ethically made, sustainably made fashion isn't always the most accessible to everybody. And I do think that if sustainable brands are, you know, they're obviously not going to be slashing prices by 50%, but, you know, if it's 10, 15, 20%, if that actually can really help you access these products that you otherwise might not be able to, I think that that's also, it's okay. It's okay to buy something and take advantage of those discounts if it was made properly, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's about just doing your research and knowing what you're buying. And you know, we have something at Fashion Takes Action called the 7 R's of fashion. And so, you know, we're encouraging people to, around this time of the year, to take the pledge. We have a pledge. It's on our website, and it really, the 7 R's, of course, everybody thinks about reduce, reuse, recycle as this sort of 3R waste hierarchy. But there's other ways that you can contribute to, you know, keeping our clothes in use for as long as possible, and shopping your closet and loving your clothes and making them last, through a number of other ways. And that actually brings up the whole idea of waste too, for me, which is a sore spot. You know, it's like this overconsumption and the packaging that comes from this, but also the returned goods. You know, so many people don't realize, you know, what happens to those products when we return them. And brands make it so easy for us to buy, you know, 3 of something, you know, 3 different sizes or 3 different colors. And then it's like, oh, well, we just keep the one that fits and then we send back the ones that don't. But the reality is, particularly for fast fashion or really sort of cheaply made goods, the cost of actually restocking that item is higher than the value of the product. So it just gets tossed in the garbage.
I was gonna say, if it even gets restocked. Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, right. So that's something that most people are not aware of.
But then also too, Kelly, the shipping, right? The shipping and the packaging. So if like you're sent some traditionally, like you send something, you keep it, you don't have to do a return shipping on it. So imagine there's double the amount of shipping when you have the opportunity to buy 10 things and choose one and send the rest back, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like, so, second to the fact that we're over consuming is this sort of, the secondary impacts that come from that,
Mhm.
that a lot of people just don't really think about.
Yeah. So I guess what you're saying then for somebody like me or you or somebody who's going to be buying something online is be thoughtful, really understand your sizing, for instance. Like understanding your sizing and choosing one thing could actually have, if you multiply that by 100 million people, could have a massive effect, a massive positive benefit, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think also another great way to participate in Black Friday is to give the gift of thrift, and to buy something that's secondhand. Like I have my nephew who is 6, and he wants to play guitar. He wants to learn how to play guitar. Well, I just so happen to have my daughter's old guitar, her very first guitar, and I'm gonna give that to him for the holidays,
Yay.
and
Yeah.
and that's perfectly fine. Like, and that's where I think we need to kind of get around this whole idea too of like how much money we spend on people as gifts,
Yeah.
and let's just look at what we already have that we can just be reusing and sharing. Like
Yeah.
that needs to start happening more often.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I know that that's something that we really do need to unpack and disassemble is the idea, which of course, again, it comes back down to marketing is you have to spend and buy and the value of this and give the gift of this. And, there's the love and the emotions that are attached. It's a lot to unpack. So you're absolutely right. Another great thing that I'd love to hear your thoughts on are supporting. I know you're doing a lot of work with BIPOC designers, and you're doing some really great conversations coming up. I don't want to say spoil too many things, but like with the Nunavut communities, we were just talking about that. Like how can people work with Black Friday, for instance, if it's gift giving, with communities that may appreciate some extra love that they might not have seen before? Maybe any ideas?
Yeah. I mean, and that's it comes down to the research, right? So it's really like doing your research, supporting locally made products, locally made by, members of the BIPOC community, Black owned businesses, indigenous designers. And, a lot of this is accessible. There's a lot of really great, like there's, Inland is a brand here, a retailer that supports all locally made, sustainable fashion, lots of, indigenous options as well in there. And I think it's just a matter of finding those, real gems that are out there that are supporting a lot of these different designers and making the decision to actually, how you want to spend your money this Black Friday or moving into the holiday season. And, and I know I get that everybody's on a budget, right? And but I think that it's more important to buy less, keep your budget the way it is. We're not saying, oh, go out there and spend twice as much as you would because now you're buying something that was locally made or sustainably made, but buy fewer items and just focus in on those 1 or 2 items instead of buying somebody or buying yourself 5 or 6 items, right? Mm-hmm. And really just, again, understanding how to support these designers, whether they're part of the BIPOC community or they're just part of the local community. It's important to still continue to support them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that too. I was on another conversation a little bit earlier to kind of build on what you're saying with Carrie Summers from Fast Rev. The importance of buying local also really kind of not ties you, but it gets you more connected to whether your clothing or a product or something that you're going to be giving as a gift or even giving to yourself. And that by nature kind of reprograms you into thinking, I really want to take care of this sweater because I know the person and I know the hands that it came from. I know the thought process that went behind it, whether it's $5 or $5,000 or $500. The cost isn't about it. It's about that connection that I think would be a really great way to help us manage this mess.
I know.
Okay, so oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and on that point, like, yeah, shop in your closet. I think there's just so much like underutilized clothing that lies in all of our closets, right? Like we wear I think it's like 20% of our wardrobe we wear 80% of the time, you know, and it's just, you know, getting reacquainted with and reconnecting with some of those pieces that you obviously bought for a reason,
Yeah.
right? And just sort of, you know, taking that opportunity, and maybe that's what you do this Black Friday is, instead of, you know, spending your day online hunting down all the best deals, is that you go into your bedroom and you open up your wardrobe and you start like, oh yeah, I remember this top, and
Yeah.
try it on, and start, you know, reconnecting with them in a new way.
Yeah, and even reinventing. I know you do. I also know that you do a lot with upcycling too. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother topic, girl. Black Friday
It is.
reinvention. Yes. Well, listen, we have to get going, but I do want to ask you, what is your top tip for Black Friday? I know you probably have a million of them, but what's your top that you can leave us with that we can share?
Yeah. I'm going to just say, you know, I think it's like giving the gift of experience instead of buying something new, you know, or gifting something that's, you know, thrifted or secondhand.
Yeah.
Really truly trying to boycott, especially when it comes to clothes,
Mhm.
right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I love that, because I think any experience with you especially would be amazing and something that we can hold on to for a very, very long time. So, Kelly, thank you so much. We look forward to hearing more from you and discovering more about what all the great stuff that you're doing with Fashion Takes Action. So stay tuned, everybody. Follow Kelly and Fashion Takes Action. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Okay.